Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real. The greatest tragedy in life is not when the body dies, it is when the spirit dies while the body is still breathing. We see it every day. Smiling on the outside, but their humanity, compassion, kindness, love already buried deep. When humanity dies before the body, we lose what makes us human. We become shadows, moving through life, but never touching it. We build walls instead of bridges, chase greed instead of purpose, and ignore the cries of others because our ears have gone deaf to compassion. But listen closely, this is not the end, because the same way humanity can die, it can also be reborn. You can choose right now to reignite it. How? By choosing empathy over ego, service over selfishness, courage over comfort, by refusing to let the world harden your heart. When you see someone struggling, lift them. When you see injustice, speak. When you feel your own light fading, fight to keep it alive. Because humanity is not about surviving, it's about living for more than just yourself. So I ask you tonight, don't just exist. Don't just breathe. Don't just walk this earth with a heartbeat but no humanity. Rise up. Let your soul outlive your body. Leave behind a legacy of kindness, strength, and love that no grave can bury. Because when humanity lives on, even death cannot silence you. True death begins when compassion and empathy leave the heart. A person may still be breathing, still walking, still speaking, yet without compassion. The essence of life is already gone. It is not the silence of the heartbeat that marks the end, but the silence of kindness, the absence of love, the refusal to feel another's pain. When empathy is gone, we stop seeing each other as human beings and start treating each other as objects. That is when walls rise higher, voices grow colder, and the soul begins to wither, even while the body stands tall. A life without compassion is like a body without blood. It cannot truly survive. But the beauty is, compassion can be chosen again. At any moment, the heart can awaken. At any moment, humanity can return. Because as long as we breathe, we have the chance to keep love alive. A body without humanity is just a shadow moving through life. It walks, it talks, it breathes, but it does not truly live. It passes through days without touching hearts, without leaving warmth, without giving light. Such a body may look alive on the outside, but inside, it carries emptiness, a hollow echo where love and kindness should be. Without humanity, every step feels heavy, every smile feels forced, every action becomes a performance without soul. It is like a tree with no roots, standing but slowly dying. It is like a lamp with no flame, present but unable to shine. A shadow can move, but it cannot embrace. Shadow can exist, but it cannot give life. To be human is more than survival. It is connection. It is compassion. It is the ability to feel and to care. Without it, existence becomes nothing but a shadow. Greed, selfishness, and indifference kill the soul before the body. They creep in quietly, feeding the mind with desires that never end, convincing the heart that more is never enough. Greed blinds us to gratitude, making us chase shadows instead of cherishing the blessings already in our hands. Selfishness locks us in a cage of me and mine, where the world outside becomes invisible, and the needs of others no longer matter. Indifference is colder than hate. It numbs the spirit, teaching us to look at suffering and feel nothing, to hear cries and remain silent, to see injustice and turn away. When these three take root, the soul begins to wither long before the body lies down in death. The eyes lose their light, the heart loses its warmth, and life becomes an empty shell, moving without purpose.
Oh.
That is how the soul dies, while the body still breathes. Every act of kindness is proof that humanity still breathes. 8. It may be a small gesture, a smile to a stranger, a hand offered to someone who has fallen, or a word spoken to lift a weary heart. These moments remind us that goodness is not gone, that compassion still lives in the silent corners of the world. Kindness carries a power far greater than we realize, can soften anger, heal wounds, and give hope where hope was fading. When kindness is shown, it sends a message louder than any speech. Humanity is alive, and it is stronger than cruelty. Even the smallest act can create ripples, reaching places we may never see, touching lives we may never know. Every act of kindness breathes life into the soul, both in the giver and in the receiver. It proves that as long as kindness exists, humanity will never die. The world doesn't need more successful people. It needs more humane people. Success without humanity is hollow. What good is wealth if it is hoarded? Power if it is abused? Or knowledge if it is used to divide instead of unite? The world is overflowing with ambition, but starving for compassion. We celebrate those who climb the highest peaks, yet often forget those who lift others on the way. A truly humane person may not always stand on the stage, but their light shines in the lives they touch, the burdens they ease, and the hope they ignite. The measure of greatness is not in titles or trophies, but in the depth of kindness and the strength of character. The world will heal not through more competition, but through more compassion. Not through more winners, but through more people who choose to care, to give, and to love. When humanity dies, society crumbles even if bodies remain alive. It is not the number of people that keeps a nation strong, it is the spirit within them. Without humanity, laws lose their meaning, leaders lose their honor, and communities lose their soul. We may see tall buildings, busy streets, and crowded markets, but beneath the surface there is emptiness if compassion has vanished. A society without humanity becomes a battlefield where selfishness rules, where the weak are forgotten, and where trust disappears. It is not war or famine alone that destroys a people, it is the slow death of empathy, the silence of kindness, the absence of care for one another. When humanity dies, division grows, and no system can hold us together. But when humanity lives, even in the hardest times, societies rise, rebuild, and endure, because compassion is the true foundation of every lasting civilization. Reviving humanity starts with small daily choices of love and empathy. It does not require grand gestures or great sacrifices, but the simple willingness to care. It begins with listening when someone needs to be heard, with offering help without being asked, with showing respect even when it is not returned. Every small choice builds upon the other, like drops of water forming a river that carves valleys and shapes the land. Love shown in little moments can heal deep wounds. Empathy practiced daily can soften the hardest of hearts. We do not revive humanity in one day. It is restored moment by moment, choice by choice, action by action. When we choose kindness instead of judgment, patience instead of anger, generosity instead of greed, humanity breathes again. When more people make these choices together, the world itself begins to change. Your humanity is your true immortality, outlives your body. Long after the heartbeat stops, long after the name fades from memory, the impact of compassion remains. What you give to others, the kindness you show, the love you share, these are the seeds that grow beyond your lifetime. A building may crumble, wealth may disappear, fame may be forgotten, but the touch of humanity endures. Every act of goodness becomes a story carried forward, a light that guides someone else in their darkest hour. Your humanity becomes a legacy, written not in stone, but in the hearts of people you've touched. This is immortality, not living forever in the flesh, but living forever in the spirit of your deeds. The body is temporary, but humanity is timeless. And when it is alive within you, it ensures that even in death, a part of you continues to live. Silence in the face of injustice is the slow death of humanity. It is not always violence that destroys us. Sometimes it is the quiet acceptance of wrong. When we turn away from suffering, when we pretend not to see oppression, when we remain silent to protect our comfort, we allow injustice to grow stronger. Silence becomes permission, and permission becomes power for those who harm. Every time a voice is withheld, a little piece of humanity fades. The heart grows colder, the conscience grows weaker, and the soul begins to shrink. When one person dares to speak, when one voice rises against wrong, it can awaken the courage of many. Humanity is not kept alive by silence, but by the willingness to defend what is right. To stay silent is to let injustice win, but to speak is to keep humanity breathing. Keep your heart alive, because a living body with a dead soul is the greatest tragedy yet. The world is filled with people who appear alive, yet their hearts no longer feel, no longer care, no longer love. A beating heart is not enough if compassion has stopped flowing through it. A moving body is not enough if purpose and kindness are absent. What value is there in wealth, power, or success if the soul behind them is empty. A dead soul makes the eyes lose their light and the spirit lose its fire. But keeping your heart alive means choosing to care when it's easier to ignore, choosing to forgive when anger feels stronger, choosing to love even when the world gives you reasons not to. The greatest strength is not in muscles or breath, it is in keeping your soul alive while you still walk this earth. And so I say, this: protect your humanity with everything you have. Do not let greed harden it. Do not let pain silence it. Not let indifference bury it. Guess the body will one day return to dust, but the legacy of your humanity can echo for generations. Live in such a way that when your time here ends, people do not just remember that you lived, they remember how you lived. With compassion, with courage, with love. That is how humanity survives. That is how you outlive your own body.